What if the roots you've been throwing away once sustained entire civilizations? That parsley root you overlooked? A medieval staple. That backyard weed? Survival food. And those knobby tubers you've never heard of? They fed empires, cured disease, and outlasted famine. For thousands of years, our ancestors relied on what grew underground. Roots packed with resilience, healing, and nutrition long before the word superfood existed. Today, on Stellar Eureka, we're unearthing 15 forgotten roots that helped shape human history and might still deserve a place in your garden. Let's dig in. Everyone knows parsley, but not like this. Buried beneath those crisp green fronds is a pale, tapering root that once held a central place in medieval European cooking. In the frost-bitten valleys of Central and Eastern Europe, root parsley wasn't a garnish, it was a survival food. This variety developed thick, starchy taproots that stored well through winter and delivered a deeper, more concentrated parsley flavor. It added richness to broths, thickened hearty stews, and even stood in for parsnip in Ashkenazi Jewish recipes, where its peppery bite was prized during cold months when little else grew. But as modern farming shifted toward uniform sweetness and shelf appeal, it was quietly replaced. Carrots took over. Leafy parsley went mainstream, and the root left behind. Which is a shame because this plant offers both fresh leaves in summer and dense, nutritious roots in winter. 2 harvests, 1 crop, if you're wise enough to grow it. While Europeans leaned on hardy roots to survive winter, Pacific Island cultures built entire belief systems around one. In Hawaii, taro, called kalo, is more than food. It's considered an ancestor, a spiritual elder born from myth, and essential to life itself. For over 1,000 years, indigenous Hawaiians cultivated taro in flooded terraces, or lo'i, where fish swam among the roots, fertilizing the plants while the plants purified the water. But taro wasn't just sacred, it was smart. Its starchy corms offered dense, long-lasting nutrition, and its leaves, when cooked properly, provided essential greens. Uncooked, the plant is toxic, laced with calcium oxalate crystals that can burn the mouth and throat. But steaming and pounding transformed it into poi, a silky fermented paste that could feed families for days. This same species spread across Southeast Asia, India, and West Africa, each region developing its own methods of growing, preparing, and revering it. Few roots have traveled so far or meant so much to so many. From the lush tropics, we ascend to the unforgiving heights of the Andes, where few plants survive and fewer still thrive. At over 13,000 feet, maca grows in a world of blistering UV light, freezing nights, and thin air that leaves most crops gasping. But this small, bulbous root didn't just survive, it became sacred. Inca warriors were said to eat maca before battle to boost endurance and strength. Spanish colonizers even tried to restrict its use, fearing it gave indigenous people an edge they couldn't control. That suppression nearly erased maca from cultivation, with only the most remote highland communities preserving the tradition. It's more than legend. Maca concentrates proteins, minerals, and plant compounds, now being studied for their adaptogenic effects, helping the body manage stress and restore balance. Today, it's a global supplement, but most of what's sold comes from lower altitudes, far from the rugged terrain that once shaped its strength and its story. While maca powered Inca warriors through battle, another root sustained those who kept the empire connected. Yakon, grown on the temperate slopes of the Andes, looks like a potato but tastes like a crisp, refreshing pear. For Incan messengers navigating the empire's vast road network, it was the ideal trail companion. No cooking needed, no preparation required. Its real genius? Hydration. When clean water was scarce or suspect, Yakon offered a naturally sterile, thirst-quenching solution. Its juicy flesh delivered both nutrition and moisture in one bite, straight from the soil. What made it even more remarkable was how it stored energy. Unlike most tubers, Yakon's sweetness comes from inulin, a prebiotic fiber the body can't fully digest. It gave sustained energy without spiking blood sugar, a biological advantage long before anyone named it. After colonization, Yakon nearly disappeared, but centuries later, it's quietly resurfacing as a modern health food. Not far from where Yakon thrived, another Andean root quietly helped civilization survive uncertainty and scarcity. Oca may not share the potato's fame, but in the highlands of the Andes, it was just as essential. Its knobby, finger-like tubers came in vibrant shades: scarlet, gold, deep purple, each adapted to different elevations and soils. Where one crop failed, Oca often succeeded. It was more than a backup. Oca brought diversity, resilience, and nutrition to Andean agriculture. But its raw tubers contained oxalic acid, bitter and hard to digest. So farmers devised a clever method, exposing the roots to sunlight and frost after harvest, breaking down the acids and unlocking their natural sweetness. Centuries later, Oca found unexpected success across the globe. Brought to New Zealand by settlers in the 1800s, it adapted so well it earned a new name, the New Zealand yam. And yet, like so many ancient crops, it remains on the fringes, too specialized, too unpredictable, and too traditional for industrial systems. While Oca found new roots overseas, burdoc's story splits in two, depending on where you're standing. In Europe, burdock grew wild and stubborn. Herbalists valued its deep roots for treating skin conditions, inflammation, and digestive troubles. It was medicine first, food rarely, used in monasteries and folk remedies, but seldom in the kitchen. But across Asia, burdock took a different path entirely. In Japan, it became gobo, a staple ingredient sliced into matchsticks for stir-fries, soups, and tempura. Its earthy flavor and crisp texture earned it a place not just in cuisine, but in culture. In Chinese medicine, it was both remedy and nourishment, blurring the line between healing and eating. The irony? While Westerners saw it as a weed, Eastern cultures turned it into an art form. Today, you're more likely to find fresh burdock root in a Tokyo grocery store than in a region where it first grew wild. Forget the name. Jerusalem artichoke isn't from Jerusalem, and it's not an artichoke. But it might be one of North America's most underrated native crops. Before European contact, indigenous communities cultivated this sunflower relative in thriving polycultures. While corn and beans climbed skyward, Jerusalem artichoke spread underground, producing knobby tubers rich in inulin, a natural fiber that sweetens without spiking blood sugar. It was food security in root form. These tubers could overwinter in the soil, harvested as needed during the hungriest months. And unlike many crops, they didn't need replanting, just respect. Settlers took the plant, renamed it, then mostly forgot it. Blamed for digestive troubles and garden takeovers, it earned the unfortunate nickname fartichoke and fell from favor. But for those who understand it, Jerusalem artichoke is still what it's always been, a hardy, nutritious survivor that quietly sustained entire communities long before supermarkets existed. Indigenous civilizations of Mesoamerica were cultivating a root that offered hydration, sweetness, and survival, all in one bite. Hikimma was no accident of nature. It was a carefully managed crop. Its crisp, juicy roots could be eaten raw, perfect for hot, arid climates where water was scarce and fuel for cooking even scarcer. But it came with a warning. Above ground, every part of the plant, leaves, seeds, and vines, is toxic. Only the root is safe, and only for those who knew the difference. For ancient farmers, that knowledge was essential. Hikimma's vines needed space, warmth, and time, up to 10 months of consistent heat before producing a single edible root. It sprawled, climbed and resisted standardization. And that's still true today. The long growing season, the massive vines, the careful handling of its poisonous parts all make Hikimma a poor fit for industrial agriculture. Yet the root itself remains remarkable, crisp, clean, and enduring, just as it was when the first civilizations cultivated it for survival. In the rainforest of pre-Columbian South America, survival didn't just depend on what you could eat, but on what you knew. Cassava, also known as manioc or yucca, became the foundation of entire indigenous diets. Its roots are dense, starchy, and incredibly productive, growing even in poor soils where other crops fail. But raw cassava also contains cyanide-producing compounds, making it toxic unless carefully prepared. That preparation was knowledge passed down through generations. The Tupi and other indigenous groups developed ingenious methods, grading, pressing, fermenting, and cooking to transform this dangerous root into safe, life-sustaining food. It was labor-intensive, but it worked, and it fed millions. After colonization, cassava spread rapidly across Africa and Asia, becoming a staple crop on 3 continents. It provided calories during wars, droughts, and famines, often when nothing else would grow. But its convenience comes with a cost. Processed cassava is nearly pure starch, offering little nutrition unless paired with other foods. From the tropics, we return to the cold, bitter fields of ancient Europe, where one root didn't just survive winter, it fought it. Black radish, with its dark, armored skin and searing white flesh, was never meant to be mild. Ancient physicians understood what modern science is only beginning to rediscover. This root is packed with compounds that support liver function and aid detoxification. Medieval healers used it for everything from sluggish digestion to respiratory congestion, believing its fierce heat could burn illness out from within. Unlike the gentle red radishes we know today, black radish was serious medicine disguised as food. It stored well through the winter and held its potency when other vegetables faded. But that same intensity became its undoing. As food culture shifted towards sweetness and soft textures, black radish fell out of favor. Its thick skin required careful peeling, and its bold flavor proved too strong for the increasingly mild palates of modern cuisine. Its medicinal strength simply didn't fit the new definition of food. Yet, in herbal traditions and Eastern European kitchens, it still burns bright, a root that never softened to fit the times. Along the Mediterranean coast, in the days before refrigeration and long-haul transport, there was a root that brought the sea to inland tables, without a single fish. Salsify doesn't look like much, thin, twig-like roots with grass-like leaves. But when peeled, cooked, and prepared properly, it delivers a briny, delicate flavor so close to fresh oysters that it earned the nickname the oyster plant. For inland peasants, it was a rare luxury, ocean flavor without ever leaving the fields. Victorian England embraced it enthusiastically. Garden manuals of the era described careful cleaning and boiling, followed by butter and herbs to enhance its subtle sweetness. French country cuisine elevated it further, folding it into stews and gratins alongside more common roots. But in the age of mechanized agriculture, salsify faded fast. Its roots grow deep and slender, making them hard to harvest without breaking. They spoil quickly after pulling and resist long-distance shipping. In a world that favors durability over delicacy, salsify couldn't compete. It may be one of the ugliest vegetables in the market, gnarled, hairy, and dirt-caked, but beneath celeriac's rough exterior lies a root with centuries of quiet prestige. First cultivated in the Mediterranean, celeriac took a different path from its leafy cousin. While common celery grew tall and green above the ground, celeriac stayed low, storing its energy underground in a bulbous, aromatic root. Ancient Greeks used it medicinally, and by the Middle Ages, monastery gardens cultivated it for both healing and flavor. Its true renaissance came in France. There, celeriac was transformed, not just into storage food, but into delicacy. Julienned into creamy remoulades or pureed into velvety soups, it offered a subtle, nutty taste with hints of parsley and anise. But despite its culinary potential, celeriac never fully entered the mainstream. Its looks didn't help, nor did its need for trimming, peeling, and patient prep. And like so many roots, it stores brilliantly, but only if you already know what to do with it. We've already met some less than photogenic root vegetable, but scorzonera might take the crown. Long, black, and almost snake-like, it earned the nickname black salsify, and more dramatically, viper's grass. Medieval cooks had a softer name for it, the poor man's asparagus. Beneath that ominous skin lies a creamy white root with a sweet, delicate flavor, mild like asparagus, but richer and earthier. In medieval Europe, it was prized not just as a peasant's food, but as a supposed antidote to venom and plague. Whether or not it worked, scorzonera earned a place in both rural kitchens and royal feasts. Its popularity continued through the Renaissance, appearing in French and Spanish cookbooks in everything from gratins to herbal tonics. But its downfall came with industrial agriculture. The roots grew long and brittle, breaking easily during harvest. The black skin stains hands, and in the end, it wasn't flavor that failed it, it was efficiency and convenience. In the frozen fields of northern Europe, when food ran scarce and winters dragged on, one humble root quietly kept people alive. Rutabaga wasn't a wild discovery, it was a botanical accident, a natural hybrid between cabbage and turnip that first appeared in 17th century Sweden. Hardy, long-lasting, and slightly sweet after frost, it could survive where other crops failed. The English called them Swedes, and during both world wars, rutabaga became a dietary staple, filling plates when meat, grains, and even potatoes were in short supply. Its dense flesh kept well in root cellars, and its reliability made it indispensable. But that same role in hardship sealed its fate. After the wars, rutabaga carried the taste of rationing and struggle. As prosperity returned, people moved on to more glamorous vegetables. Today, rutabaga remains underused, not because it lacks value, but because it came to symbolize an era of scarcity many preferred to leave behind. Our final root rises from the still waters of Asia's lotus ponds, where food and symbolism have grown together for centuries. In Hindu and Buddhist traditions, the lotus represents spiritual awakening, a perfect flower rising from muddy water, untouched by what surrounds it. That meaning carries through to its root, which became more than food. It was a ceremonial offering, a sacred ingredient, and a source of quiet sustenance in temple life. Harvesting lotus root is delicate work. It grows deep in thick mud, connected in long segments that must be carefully pulled by hand. Break the chain and you lose both value and beauty. In the kitchen, it offers something unique. It stays crisp even after hours of cooking, and its natural pattern of hollow chambers makes every slice visually striking. In Chinese cuisine, it's braised or stir-fried. In Japanese cooking, it's served as tempura. And in Indian dishes, it's often stuffed with spices. These roots carried more than just nutrients. They carried medicine, memory, and the resilience of entire civilizations. From Arctic winters to sacred ponds, they fed people, healed them, and shaped cultures long before modern agriculture took over. So, which one surprised you most? Which would you try, or even grow? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this journey through the forgotten roots of human survival, like, subscribe, and pass it on to someone who loves the deeper stories nature has to tell. This is Stellar Eureka, signing off.